Another couple of things about this Yew primitive. As I've been working it, basically I've been keeping the belly flat, but now it's getting closer to finished. I've been sort of rounding the corners off, so it'll be just a nice gentle elliptical curve, which will just make it bend easier. If you flex something that's dead flat, it actually turns slightly concave as it's bent. Also, rounding off edges is always good practice, because breaks and cracks always start at corners and sharp edges, so everything is gradually getting rounded off. The other point is the grip. It's going to be this way round in the hand. I haven't shaped it too much, just a little to give me an idea. That'll be the arrow pass. There's the centre line, so it'll sit in my hand about that, like that, with the heel of my hand overlapping slightly onto the fade, but that fits into the shape of your hand quite nicely. You often find, especially on American long bows, they tend to build them with very long grip sections, which is fine. I mean, they make great bows, but it's just my way of thinking. I like to have as much working limb as possible. And this shows you how the fade comes in. You can see the growth rings there. So it's fairly long and elegant, but you know, it's not too long. I mean, if I stick a ruler on that, just give you some sort of idea of the length of the grip section. Of course, it depends where you call the grip, but if we say it's from about there to there, we're looking at about 6 inches maximum. Often people say sort of start with 8 or 10 or God knows what, but I think the working limbs probably, yes, probably from about there to the 6-inch mark, because you can throw away a lot of flexibility. I mean, if the limb doesn't start working till there, then you've thrown away a good couple of inches. You know, you just want to see a hint of movement here. And of course, with a longbow, with an English longbow, the whole thing will be flexing slightly. There will be some flex in the grip. Interesting thing about this, I mean, it is long, it's 6 foot, and the reflex and deflex was put into it such that originally the tips lined up with the back of the bow, so there was no overall reflex or deflex. And you can see she's pretty much sitting on it. Actually, it's got the merest hint of reflex, but we can allow for the thickness of the temporary knock there. There's a slight ugly kink in this upper limb, just sort of there, but that's the way the wood was. It wasn't glued down onto a formam as such. It was just that was the shape of the billet. It was glued up and strapped, and a block of wood jammed under the tip to give it a bit of reflex. Originally it was all deflex, and then a straight section with no reflex. Anyhow, I don't know if I might edit all this stuff out, but if you do need to take the film, you have no choice but to not show it. Yeah, I'm going to go and have a look. I've had about 3 more sessions working on the limbs, basically just taking wood off the belly, checking for any thick points, taking a bit of wood off there and rounding it to a nice gentle curve, working one limb at a time. Last bit I've done was on this limb because it looked a little bit stiff compared with the lower one. And this will answer the question I often get asked of why the bow's on the skew. That is the centre of the bow. That's 1 inch above it, which is the arrow pass, and I'll carefully put a set square across the bow, and that where that tape is, that's where the arrow would knock. So that's where I'm pulling the scale. So if I support the bow about there, at the arrow pass, yes, it sits square, but of course your hand isn't at the arrow pass because that's where the arrow is. Your hand's below the arrow pass, and as soon as you put the weight there, even just slightly above centre, but it depends, when you pull a bow, do you take the weight on the ball of your hand there, or some people take it on the heel? So some people are putting the load there, some are putting it here. So it can make quite a difference, but that's what I do. Doesn't mean it's right. If you want to make a nice square tiller and clamp your bow on it, fine. You can still view the limbs individually, but in my view the bow is an entity in its own right. It's the whole bow. I'm not tillering one limb then the other. Well, no, I am, because I just said at the beginning I took a load off that limb. You do what works for you. I'm not pragmatic. I don't say, ooh, I'm right. All this is just my opinion. It's what I do. Take the bits that work for you, work out the rest for yourself. Become your own expert, grasshopper. Right, let's see what this looks like. I think you'll agree the left limb certainly looks a lot nicer. That sort of the reflex kick is still there, but to a much lesser extent. Just to give it some exercise, because I've taken quite a lot of wood off and it's not really been exercised much. There we are, I'm pulling that back and forth to about 40. Right, let's give it, that's 45. Well, that's a good 27 inches. So I reckon by the time, if I just held that a bit, worked it back and forth some more, I reckon we're probably 45 at 28 by now. Right, no, not quite 28, it's about 27 at 45. Now this is for my mate Rob, and he said 45 at 30, 50 absolute max. So we're pretty close. Oh, by the way, the other thing I've done is I've got the final horn knocks on. They're tip overlays, and I've tapered the tips a little bit more. What I want to review is this kick coming out better now before I do any more, but I think we're probably very nearly there. I'll be able to see on the video, but you can see as I start pulling it, the bow rocks across to horizontal and is looking quite nice. Yeah, I can see it's still a bit, I'm just wary of over weakening it here and creating a weak point. It still feels thick there, that's the node. A little thick there maybe, I can feel it. But interestingly I can see grain running through back to front there. Yeah, it's, I think we're down to fiddling and fettling. What I might do, make the final string for it, hopefully shoot it on Sunday, throw a load of arrows through it, probably at 28, 29 inch draw, get it back on the tiller for some final fiddling and fettling. But yeah, that's pretty close. In fact, I'd guess, well, we can do the arithmetic, can't we? It was, what did I say, 45 at 27. Right, 45 at 27, 45 divided by 27, yes, I realise this isn't perfect, equals, it's only 1.66 pounds per inch times 30. See, that's 49.9999999. Yeah, so it's pretty much what we asked for, 50 maximum, so we're very, very close. Because it's long draw, it's a long bow, it's a low draw weight, there's not much in the way of pounds per inch. I've not been used to war bows lately where you're, you know, sort of 5 pounds per inch and God knows what. Very different kettle of fish this. But I have got a guy, a mate of mine, who wants a 35 pounder. So I might see if I can find a stave that will do for that. Because having done this, I've got more of a feel for a lighter bow. I don't know if you like me chatting like mad or you just want to see the bow flexing. Say something in the comments column, and if you're really nice you'll get a likes. We might even get a heart. Right, anyway, I'm being silly now.